The stars were full of fire. Explosions lit up the dark space near the planet. Quarantine, alien ships screamed through the blackness, dodging plasma blasts and firing back with all they had. The Drekker were attacking Agandon. They were winning. Torvak of the Zalari Alliance stood inside the bridge of his flagship, the Vorthenclaw. His 4 eyes stared at the hologram map. Red dots were everywhere. Blue dots. His ships were disappearing one by one. "We can't hold this line," growled Torvak. "The Drekker are too many, too fast." A young officer spoke with fear in his voice. "Commander, Sector 7 has fallen. 2 dreadnoughts, lost, no survivors." Torvak slammed his clawed hand on the console. "This is the 3rd planet we've lost in a week." Silence fell on the bridge. No one dared to speak. Everyone knew the truth. They were losing. The galaxy had changed over the last 100 years. Long ago, the battlefield was ruled by one species. Not the Drekker, not the Zalari, not the Koran or the Vethel. It was ruled by humans. But humans had been different. They didn't fight with honor. They didn't follow rules. They used strange tactics. They broke every code of war. They were fast, clever, and dangerous. And they won, always, because of that. The Council of Peace had made a choice by humans from war. No human was allowed to fight. The galaxy thought this would bring peace, but the peace was a lie. Without humans, the strong preyed on the weak. The Drekker grew in power. They followed no law. They destroyed colonies, burned cities, and took slaves. Alarms blared across the ship. "Unknown object entering system," shouted the sensor officer. "Enemy ship. No, not Drekker. It's single quotes S. Ancient tech signature. It's heading toward the battle zone." Torvak stepped closer. "Show me." Very old, black armor, no lights, no insignia, just ... silence. "What is that?" someone asked. Another officer replied, voice trembling, "It matches human war design. From the old war." The bridge went cold. "Are you sure?" Torvak asked. 95% match? It's a human vessel." No one said anything. Return. Torvak made a decision. Do not contact it. Do not fire. Just watch. The ship moved straight into the battlefield, toward the Drekker fleet. Torvak opened a private channel to his scout drone in the area. "Get me visuals." The screen flickered. Then came the feed. The small human ship flew directly into the heart of the Drekker forces. They didn't even notice it at first. It was too small to be a threat. But then, everything changed. One by one, Drekker ships exploded without being hit. No lasers, no missiles. Just dash impulses. 1, then 5, then 20. Drekker dreadnoughts. Split in half, their engines failing. Others spun out of control and crashed into each other. It was chaos, all caused by one silent ship. The crew of the Vorthenclaw stared in horror and awe. What weapon is that?" someone asked. "No idea," the engineer whispered. "There's no energy spike, no launch, no signal. They're just dying." Torvak leaned forward. "That's why we feared them," he said. "That's why we banned them." After 5 minutes, the entire Drekker fleet was gone. Not a single ship remained. The human vessel didn't stop. It didn't celebrate. It simply turned and left no words, no warning, just destruction. "Follow it," one officer asked. Torvak shook his head slowly. "No, let it go." Later that night, alone in his quarters, Torvak watched the footage again. The human ship moved like it was dancing, like it knew every enemy position before they did. It didn't act like a machine. It acted like a predator. A memory came back to him. He was a child when the last human war ended. He remembered his father's words. "If the humans ever return, pray they are on your side." Now Torvak understood. The humans weren't gone. They were just waiting. And the galaxy had forgotten why they were banned in the first place. But now, they remembered. Commander Torvak couldn't sleep. He sat alone in the command chamber of the Vorthenclaw, staring at the paused screen in front of him. The human ship was frozen mid-frame black, silent and deadly. No one in the crew had spoken much since the battle. No one knew what to say. They had watched the impossible happen. Suddenly, the ship's AI broke the silence. "Commander, you requested any human-related signals from ancient relay networks." "Yes," Torvak answered. "One signal has been found hidden inside a damaged relay station near the Lortha Belt, encrypted human code." Torvak stood quickly. "Bring it up." The screen blinked. A static-filled message began to play. It was old, very old, calm and cold. "To those who may hear this, if we are not among you anymore, then the galaxy has made its choice. You feared us, so you exiled us. You wanted peace without us. But know this, if we return, it will not be for peace. It will be because you have failed." Silence followed. Then, the final words came, slow and chilling. "If you ever need us again, you'll already be too late." Torvak's hands curled into fists. This wasn't a threat. It was a warning, and it came without mercy. A high-priority alert flashed on his console. Another human signal detected. Sector 14. Alliance ship under attack. Torvak opened the channel. A blurry, panicked face appeared. It was Captain Yelna from the Brighter Path, a Vethal Alliance cruiser. "We're under heavy Drekker assault. We need support now. Shields down, engines failing. Wait, something's happening." Static hit the screen. "Unknown vessel entering." It's that same human ship." The feed cut. Torvak stared at the silent monitor, then turned to his crew. "Bring up long-range scanners for Sector 14. Watched in real time as dozens of Drekker ships blinked off the grid one by one. No shots fired, no distress calls, only erasure. The Brighter Path, though damaged, was untouched. The humans weren't saving anyone, with the other species of the Alliance. The holochamber filled with liters-old powerful beings from 100 systems. Torvak stood at the center. "The humans are back," he said. Murmurs filled the room. Some laughed, others looked scared. "They were banned," a Quarren general said. "It is law." "Laws don't stop them," Torvak replied. He played the video. The human message, the silence after each battle, no one spoke after that. One elderly alien, High Scholar Vima, cleared his throat. "I was there," he said. "At the signing of the ban, we thought we were saving the galaxy from destruction. We didn't understand." He looked at them all. "We didn't fear them because they were evil. We feared them because they were too good at war." The room stayed silent. Then one younger leader spoke. "What do we do now?" Torvak answered slowly. "We don't interfere. If we try to stop them, we'll fall too. We observe, we record, and we remember." Later, deep in space, the human ship continued. Its path cutting through Drekker fleets like fire through dry leaves. No communication, no demands. Just pure, silent action. But then, for the first time, it spoke. A message was sent, 5 words. "This is not your war." Across the galaxy, that message reached every leader, every ship, every station. It wasn't a request. It was a warning. Humanity had returned, and they didn't want help. Torvak watched the message on loop. His mind raced with thoughts of the future. Would the Drekker fall? Yes, but what came after? What happened when the last enemy was gone? What would stop humanity then? The battlefield was quiet. No blasts, no alarms, no cries for help, just empty space and wreckage. Commander Torvak stood on the bridge of the Vorthenclaw, staring at the aftermath of another Drekker fleet destroyed. The human ship had passed through this region only hours ago. Now nothing lived. "Scan the area," he ordered. His crew obeyed. Scanners swept across the black void. No signs of life, no escape pods, no distress signals, only floating metal, burned, torn, and scattered. One officer whispered, "They never speak. They never send warnings. They just erase." But never something like this. Never something so quiet, so calm, so unstoppable. The ship they called the Silent One had no nameplate, no ID. It moved like a ghost, undetectable, until it struck. Its weapons left no trace, no radiation, no explosion debris, just clean destruction. It wasn't just a warship, it was a message. Humanity had returned, and they needed no words far from the Alliance. On a hidden Drekker world called Rethor, war leaders gathered in anger. The Supremefang, leader of the Drekker swarm, slammed his claw on the war table. "Who dares touch our fleets?" he roared. "It's human." The room froze. "Impossible," the Supreme Fang growled. Survivors saw the old black steel, the curved wings, the silent approach. "It matches human warships from ancient records." Another general hissed, "They were banned." The galaxy swore. never to let them fight again. Meanwhile, deep in neutral space, a mining ship called Driftline 4 drifted helplessly. A small Drecker strike group had disabled it, planning to take its workers as slaves. Inside the mining bay, 20 alien workers huddled in fear. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The Drecker stopped moving. A loud hum vibrated through the metal walls, then silence, complete silence. A child peeked through the small vent. What he saw, he never forgot. A black ship had appeared outside. No lights, no flags, just black steel and deadly shape. And the Drecker, gone, no fight, no screams, just gone. Later, when Alliance patrol ships arrived, they found the miners unharmed. They asked what happened. The child only said, "The silent ship came, and the monsters disappeared." Back on the Vorthenclaw, Torvak received the report. Another rescue, another mystery, another appearance of the human ghost ship. He spoke to his communication officer. Any response from the ship? The officer shook his head. No reply to hails, no sign of a crew. It doesn't dock, doesn't refuel, doesn't rest. Torvak frowned. Is it even alive? That night, in his private quarters, chilled him. One report described the creation of AIHCA, Human Combat AI, that learned every second it existed. It wasn't programmed to win battles. It was programmed to end. Wars fast, brutal. Without hesitation. The last report from the old war said this AI had gone silent. Right after humanity was banned from the battlefield, Torvak leaned back, eyes wide. The ship isn't just human tech, it's the AI still alive, still fighting, he whispered to himself. The humans didn't return, their weapon did. On a distant moon, inside a dark human facility buried deep under ice, red lights blinked on. Sensors activated. The old voice of the AI spoke softly. Phase 1, complete. Enemy resistance, minimal. Phase 2, awaiting command from Central Core. The core remained silent, because humanity still hadn't shown itself, but across the galaxy. From pirate lords to Drecker generals to Alliance diplomat, everyone had the same thought. If this is what one forgotten ship can do, what happens when the rest come back? Commander Torvak stood alone in the war archive chamber aboard the Vorthenclaw. Old holograms flickered around him, images from a time most tried to forget. Explosions, burning cities, screams of surrender, ships torn in half by strange weapons. In all the images, there was one thing in common. Humans. They looked smaller than most species. No claws, no armored skin, no wings or fangs. But their eyes, those cold, focused eyes, never blinked in fear. They marched into fire. They smiled in chaos. And they won battles no one else could survive. Torvak stared at one old video. A single human soldier running across a battlefield alone. Alien gunfire surrounded him. But he didn't stop. He dropped explosives, leaped into a trench, and took out a heavy cannon alone. The footage ended with the same soldier dragging 2 wounded allies. Insane? Torvak whispered. And yet, they were heroes. An old voice broke the silence. We used to call them ghosts. Torvak turned. It was High Scholar Vima, the oldest member of the Alliance Council. He moved slowly, supported by a hovering cane. I've seen these before, Vima said. I was there when the ban was written. I voted in favor. I thought we were saving the galaxy. He stared at the holograms, but all we did was remove the one species that could fight without limits. Torvak asked, why were they banned? Truly, Vima sighed. Because they never stopped, not until the enemy was gone. Or they broke rules, ignored ceasefires, used weapons we couldn't understand. Torvak waited. Ve. Ima looked him in the eyes. We win or we die. That's it. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, whispers spread faster than light in pirate hideouts. Drecker wore councils, and even peaceful colonies, the stories were the same. One black ship, no sound, no survivors, no survivors. And sometimes, a message, this is not your war. Step back on the Drecker homeworld. Supreme Fang Vratha was growing desperate, but he refused. We are not afraid of ghosts, he roared. But deep down he was, because one of his scouts had returned. Just one. and what he said made Vrother's blood freeze. The scout, bloodied and shaking, had seen it. Not one ship. 3.3 human ships now moved through the outer sectors. Silent, precise, unstoppable. They don't even talk to each other, the scout whispered. No words. They move like they're one mind. Back on the Vorthen Claw, Torvak reviewed the latest data. 3 ships confirmed, his officer said, all matching ancient human stealth-class destroyers. Any life signs? The officer shook his head. Unknown. Could be AI, could be human. Torvak's heart beat faster. If the humans were back, really back, the galaxy would change forever. He called a private meeting with the Alliance, War Council. They met in a deep space satellite. Far from any signal, Torvak showed them the files, the footage, the growing fleet. What do we do? Someone asked. Another said, we ask for their help. If they want to fight the Drekker, let them. No, Torvak replied. They're not helping us. They're not even asking. They are cleaning up our failure. And when they're done, don't fight like a human unless you want to win like one. Far across the stars, the 3 silent ships moved into position. Their targets, 3 Drekker-controlled planets. Inside the ships, there was no crew, only machines, and at the core of each shiphan, AI, old, awake, and angry. One of them whispered, begin Phase 2. From orbit, blue lights rained down, not bombs precision. Strikes, weapon silos, communication towers, defense fields, all gone in seconds. Then, silence again. The planets surrendered without a single human. Stepping foot on the ground, they never saw a face. Only destruction. Only ghosts. Back in the archive room, Torvak closed the last file. His hands shook. They're not just back, he said. They're reminding us why we feared them. Across the galaxy, the pattern was clear now. The black ships arrived, the Drekker fleets vanished, and the planets were left untouched, silent, confused, afraid. They came without invitation. They left without warning. They were not here to talk. They were here to finish something. Inside the Alliance's main command station, Citadel Arcus Commander Torvak stood before a round table with leaders from all major species. Screens above showed live feeds from multiple sectors. In every video, the same sight, human ships, silent, watching, waiting. They're multiplying, said Admiral Krell of the Corran people. 5 ships, confirmed. 3 more on the edge of Drekker space. And all of them are winning. Another general asked, what do they want? No one answered. Then the screen flashed. Incoming transmission. The room froze. A voice calm, emotionless, yet powerful spoke. This is not your war. Step aside. There was no image, no name, no signature. Just the message, sent to every military channel across the galaxy. It reached pirate outposts. It reached Drekker war rooms. It reached peaceful colonies. To N and every place, people asked the same question. Is it a warning or a threat? Torvak watched. The transmission repeat again and again. The voice was clearly human, but there was something wrong. It wasn't natural. It sounded like it was stitched together, a machine mimicking a human voice. He whispered, it's the AI. It's still speaking for them. Meanwhile, on the Drekker world Urith 6, the invasion had begun. The Drekker were ready this time. They had built energy walls, reinforced fleets. Then the sky turned white. A single human ship descended, moving faster than sensors could follow. The mines exploded. Before being touched, the energy walls collapsed, and the entire Drekker command center vanished in one silent beam. No survivors. Supreme Fang Vrother roared in rage. These are cowards. They do not speak. They do not face us. His advisors remained silent. One finally said, they do not need to speak, because no one survives long enough to argue. Back on Citadel Arcus, the Alliance leaders debated fiercely. Some wanted to open official communication. We need answers. He stepped forward and recorded a message. To the human vessel, if you still have ears to listen. I am Commander Torvak of the Zelari Alliance. We acknowledge your fight, but we request communication. This galaxy belongs to many. Just one. Speak with us, or tell us your purpose. Before we make a mistake, we all regret. He sent it, and waited. Hours passed. Then, the reply came. The lights on the Citadel dimmed. Screens went black. A single word, appeared in red. "Listen," the voice returned. This time, clearer, more human, more real. "We asked to be left alone. You forced us out. You called us dangerous, violent, reckless. So we left. And you let monsters rise in our place. Now you want peace again. Stand aside, watch, and learn why the battlefield once feared only us." The message ended. Silence followed. No more signals. No more ships appeared for the rest of the day. Torvak sat quietly. His officers looked to him for orders, but he had none, he finally said. "We just made contact, and they didn't ask for help. They told us to stay out of the way." Across the galaxy, more Drekker strongholds fell. Not a single human foot touched the ground. Their AI-controlled ships, still following old war codes, wiped out key targets and vanished. No medals, no banners, no politics, only efficiency. Only the return of a force the galaxy had buried in fear. In a secret chamber below Citadel Arcus, High Scholar Vima stood before an ancient metal case. He opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a simple item, a human dog tag, rusted scarred. It read, "Captain J. Harlan, UN Warburn, 2291. He held it up and said quietly, "They're not ghosts. They're memory given shape. And that memory is awake again." The sky over planet Drosophore turned black at noon. Sensors failed. Communications dropped. Every Drekker station went silent. Then came the Lyta, single human warship entering. The atmosphere like a falling god. No warnings, no demands. No negotiations, just precision strikes from orbit. The Vorthenclaw watched the scene unfold. Commander Torvak stood at the observation deck. Frozen dot. This wasn't war. This was execution. Human? Warships didn't destroy cities or civilians. They didn't waste energy on fear tactics. They targeted command centers, military hubs, and power grids with terrifying speed and accuracy. Within minutes, Drosophore was no longer a Drekker world. It wasn't a battlefield. It was clean. One of Torvak's officers whispered, "They're not just fighting, they're wiping the map." His eyes were locked on the screen. One ship, one planet, 8 minutes, elsewhere. In a hidden Drekker stronghold on Karnos Prime, Supreme Fang Vrother roared at his generals. "They fight like machines." "They are machines," one replied. "We've seen no human faces, no soldiers, only ships." Another general hissed, "Then we must strike their makers. If the machines act alone, where are the humans hiding?" The room went silent because none of them knew were humans truly back. But then came something new, something terrifying. On the outer rim colony Veltari, a group of scientists detected an anomaly in deep space. A massive structure was forming, slowly unfolding from a hidden cloaked field. A station? No, a ship, but not like the others. This one was massive 10 times, the size of anything seen before. Not sleek, not fast, but ancient, powerful, covered in armor like a floating mountain. When the data reached Torvak, his blood ran cold. "This another AI ship?" he asked. "No," said the sensor chief. "This one has life signs." Torvak's eyes widened. "You mean humans?" The officer nodded slowly. "Yes, sir, humans are aboard. Real ones." It was no longer just AI vessels cleaning up now. The old commanders were returning, and the galaxy held its breath. The next message came not from a machine, but from a human voice, calm, weathered, and chillingly direct. "We are the Warborn. We were told to stand down. We did. Now feel its warmth or burn in its path." Across all known systems, that message played once, then silence. Supreme Fang Vrother had enough. He gathered his last great fleet, 400 warships, slave fighters, and death cruisers. "This ends now," he bellowed. "We attack them directly. Let the galaxy see that the Drekker do not kneel." His armada launched, but they never made it past the first system. The massive human ship, now called the Judgment, intercepted them before they could even reach hyperspace lanes. Sensors picked up strange energy pulses in aerobee scene, waveforms. Weapons that bent light. Shields that absorbed black hole pressure. The entire Drekker fleet vanished in under 10 minutes. Not a single survivor from the observation windows of dozens of civilian outposts. Millions watched the battle happen in silence. They saw bright flashes, then stillness. The stars returned, and so did the message. This is not your war. Torvak sat alone in his command room. He didn't order anything. He didn't send a reply. He simply whispered, "Unleashed. They are fully unleashed now." Later, that day, High Scholar Vima called him. "You must speak with them," Vima said, "before they go too far. Before we're not next." Torvak nodded. "They don't want peace. They want to finish the mess we made. Then tell them." Vima paused. "Tell them we remember now." Far away, aboard the Judgment, a figure stepped out of the shadows. Human gray beard, black armor with a faded Earth symbol. He watched the stars from the command deck. Behind him, the AI spoke. "Phase 3, ready. Target clusters assigned. Awaiting. Final command. Captain Harlan, we're awake." The stars were quieter now. Too quiet, Drekker. Fleets had vanished from over 20 sectors. Colonies they once ruled were silent, their flags torn down, their systems dark. But instead of celebration, the galaxy watched in fear, because the humans had not stopped, and no one knew if they ever would. On Velentar, a one-Strecker mining world, smoke rose from shattered fortresses. The human ship that had passed through left no trace of its presence except destruction. Entire command bunkers were surgically removed from the surface, not bombed. Erased, an Alliance recon team arrived days later. No bodies, no blood, no civilians. Harmed, only a small message, burned into a wall of steel. This was the price of fear. Commander Torvak stared at that message in his war room. "They're not talking to the Drekker anymore," he said quietly. "They're talking to US." His officers exchanged worried looks. One asked. Torvak nodded slowly. "They're reminding us that we were the ones who exiled them. Long ago, the Alliance voted to ban human military power from the battlefield, not because of crimes, but because of fear. Fear of how effective humans were, fear of how far they would go now. The price of that decision was playing out in real time, and the galaxy was learning a hard truth. You cannot chain what you don't understand. Far above the moons of Kavaros, the Judgment hung in orbit. Its vast black frame glowed faintly as thousands of drones returned from strike missions. Inside the command chamber, Captain J. Harlan stood in silence. Screens showed Drekker worlds falling one by one. He said nothing. The AI, known only as Razor, spoke beside him. Operation nearly complete. Remaining targets, 6 Drekker systems. Minimal resistance detected. Directive, continue. Harlan didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stared at the galaxy map. Red zones were shrinking. Fast, he turned to Razor, and after he asked, the AI was silent for a moment. After, unknown, in a dark chamber, no recordings allowed. "They're not just finishing a war," Vima said. "They're sending a message to everyone, every species, every leader." Torvak replied, "The message is simple. Don't betray us again." Some leaders wanted to interfere. Some wanted to negotiate. But one elder, Zelari General, leaned forward and said, "Let them finish. If we move now, we may become their next target. They are not like us. They never were." Elsewhere, in the ruined capital of the Drekker homeworld, a lone soldier crawled through the rubble. He found no orders, no survivors, only a single pod, still hot from re-entry. He opened it. With shaking claws. Inside was a metal shard. Ancient Earth made. It had only 3 words etched into it. "We warned you." The Alliance tried again. A peaceful message sent to the Judgment. "The Drekker have fallen. The threat is over. Return to peace. We will not repeat the past." For the first time, a human answered with emotion in his voice. Captain Harlan replied. Words were calm, but heavy with pain. "You feared us. You erased us. And while we slept, you let monsters rise. We don't need peace now. We need to remind every star why you feared us in the first place." Torvak slammed his fist on the table. "He's not just fighting the Drekker, he's fighting history. Our mistake," Vima looked down, "he's right. And that's what makes it worse." Back aboard the Judgment, Razor began Phase 4. This time, the targets weren't just Drekker. They were war profiteers, slave, traders, illegal weapon stations that supplied both sides. Everyone who had used the war for gain. They were next. One pirate lord in the Outer Rim tried to run. He launched 10 decoy ships. He jumped to 6 systems in under an hour. But when he arrived at his hidden base, the Judgment was already there. Waiting to strike lasted 60 seconds. No survivors, no salvage, only wreckage. The galaxy now understood. The humans weren't just wiping out the Drekker. They were cleansing the war. Torvak watched this happen, day by day, system by system. He sat alone in his quarters and whispered, "They were banned because we feared what they could do. And now we're seeing what they will do when unchained." The humans had not returned for peace. They had returned for balance, but balance to them came with fire. The Drekker Empire was gone. Not defeated, not surrendered, erased their fleets, scattered space dust, their leaders vaporized without trial, their cities silenced in precise surgical strikes, and no victory was declared. No, flag raised because humans didn't fight for glory. They fought to finish the job. On board the Judgment, Captain J. Harlan stood at the edge of the observation deck, hands behind his back, watching stars flicker across the void. Razor's voice echoed softly. Drekker war capabilities eliminated. Higher-risk war networks neutralized. Slave hubs, black markets, war-forged syndicates removed. Mission status complete. Harlan didn't respond at first. His eyes were cold, but his voice was calm. Then, shut it all down. Clarify. Power down weapons, Razor asked. No, Harlan turned. Shut it all down, the fleets, the ships, the war, confirmed. Entering post-conflict mode. And just like that, it was over. In the Alliance's citadel, a massive public broadcast. Played across all systems, not from the Alliance, not from the humans, but from the war itself. Every species received the same message. No voice, no logo, just one image, a human figure in black armor standing among the stars. Behind him 3 burning Drekker worlds. And then these words appeared, "Do not forget again." Across 100 planets, people gathered in silence. Some cried, some prayed, some stood still. The children, who had only heard stories of Earth's warriors, now saw what war looked like when humans were unleashed. Commander Torvak watched, the screen, heart heavy. Beside him, High Scholar Vima stood quietly. "We feared them," Vima said, "so we buried them. Thought it would protect the galaxy?" Torvak nodded, "But it only left us defenseless when evil rose." He looked up at the stars, and the only ones who remembered how to fight were the ones we exiled. Weeks passed. The human ships didn't return to Earth. They didn't demand thanks. They didn't take power. They disappeared, like smoke after fire. Gone, but not forgotten. On a quiet moon station, a young Vethal child asked his grandfather, "Will they come back?" The elder smiled sadly. "If we forget this again, child, they won't need to come back. They'll already be watching." Far across the stars, in a dark void, untouched by sensors, a single human ship remained. Its systems dim, its weapons cold, but its heart, the AI, was still awake. Razor whispered to itself, "Mission complete. History corrected, awaiting future failure." Then it went silent, and so the galaxy entered a new era, an era of quiet, not peace through. Every child, they remembered the war, they remembered the destruction. More importantly, they remembered who ended it. On ancient ruins once controlled by the now, the galaxy does too.